Okay. Welcome back to Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, Anime Review Episode 19. Yes, with this one, I'm pretty much going through the... Pretty much this is my final thoughts on the very first season of the show for Mushoku Tensei. Which I still hope there will be a season 2. Yes. Now, I should also point out that I started reviewing this back in June. Yes, June. It took me a little while to finish reviewing the first half of the season before I eventually come back for this full-on review since October. I have been thoroughly enjoying this particular series, and apparently, get this anime review series, since I've basically been regular reviewing it, it's been blowing up on Twitter. Like, anytime, basically, I post a review, I get tons of impressions for it. Like, I get, almost 100 to 200 impressions of it, which is, in my opinion, actually pretty good. At least people at least get some attention on Twitter. I didn't really expect it very much. As far as I can tell, the only one lately has done this, aside from this one, has been Demon Slayer. Yes, Demon Slayer is getting it too, purely because of the fact that I reviewed Demon Slayer, but because that one's humongously popular. Yes, thanks, of course, to coming out the popularity that basically sprung up because of the movie. Yep. But in my case, basically, what my final thoughts are on this particular season for the series. Now, did I have a problem with the fact we actually had 2 curs for the series? No, I didn't have a problem with it at all. I think it's a really interesting idea, especially since this season pretty much adapted 6 books in 23 episodes. The only book I kind of say they did a bit of a rush job on is book 5. The first 3 books, in my honest opinion, based upon what I remember from the books and what they present in the anime, I think they did a pretty good job with the first half of the season. Everything was paced well. They kept a lot of stuff in. I'd say the only thing majorly they cut from those particular episodes was some dialogue. But that's it. In the case of this particular season, well, in the case of what they got there from book 4, they did a really good job with that. That was excellent per se. Plus, I love the fact in the following episode, they actually explained the whole came appearance by Roxy in the episode. Yes, they actually explained because it was an interlude that took place during that particular chapter, which is awesome. The fact they adapted. Yes, I know that book 5, well, they cut a lot of stuff out from book 5. I think that was the only book, in my opinion, that got shortchanged for the season. Yes. Now, if you're curious to, how many episodes each of these episodes took up a particular book, per se. Well, there was one thing from, I think it was, book 2, I think it was. Yeah, there was an extra story that was not adapted from book 2. It focused on Gasser, where she's looking for Rudius and Eris, where they didn't adapt, they skipped that one for some reason. Do not know why. I mean, if you look at this, the first book was at the first 5 episodes, though toward the end of book episode 5, they also started adapting book 2, which is really good. And they pretty much have 4 episodes. Actually, overall, I would say 5 episodes overall, because book 11, episode 11, they kind of finished up adapting book 2 and book 3. And then we come back, and then we had 5 episodes focused on book 4, which that was really good. In the case of book 5, I do kind of agree that basically the 3 episodes this book was given was kind of a bad idea. You might think, what about book 3? That was given 3 episodes. That was because they kept a lot of stuff in. This one, they cut some stuff out. Some chapters barely got adapted. Some basically, they pretty much omitted almost an entire freaking chapter for this one. But in the case of these episodes, book 6, they did actually a really good job. It took basically 5 episodes to adapt this one, which that was actually really good on the part of the studio doing this. Book 6 basically was paced a lot better, and it kept a lot of stuff in, which I do like that. Excuse me. Like in the case of this episode, I would say from the stuff they adapted in book 6, they kept a lot in. Even though they kind of started book 7, it was a partial adaptation of an extra story for book number 7. But all in all, this season is actually really good. Now, do I hope we're going to get season 2? Yes. Due to the fact that the final episode pretty much laid the groundwork for season 2. Yes. If you want to do 2 curves, fine. Don't have an issue with that. I think that's a really good idea. But it all depends upon the studio who makes the series. Yes, it all depends upon that one per se. Yes. Yes, which is Studio Bind. Yes. Though it's also my Egg Farm per se. I think they're like a co-producer for this one. Yes. They're the ones who own it per se. But it's interesting though that this is by far the first series they've ever done. Yeah. It's very interesting though this was the first series they ever did. Yeah, that this one studio, Studio Bind, a company that started 3 years ago, and yet they did this one. Only one anime, which is quite interesting. Some studios, like for example, the company that made Saga Tanibyo, yeah, that was the very first anime they did. The only thing they did besides that was the movie and an anime original series. Yes. Now, in the case of season 2, if they have one, there's plenty of material they can do. And do I think it should be the same like this season? Yes. Yes, they should. Would I recommend basically the next season be a little bit longer, like 1 episode longer? Yes, definitely. That's one thing I would do. Yes. And you might be asking, Nick, is there plenty of material for season 2? Yes. There are 18 books. So there is plenty of material for season 2. Like, you can do like 2 curves. Have the first curve cover the first, like cover books 7 through 9, and then have curve 2 cover books 10 through 12. Though I do recommend this season might be slightly longer due to the fact there is a lot more pages in these following books. Yes, especially in the case of book number 12, where it's like about a little over 300 pages. But that all depends on the studio. It all depends on the studio and Bind if they ever actually do a season 2. Here's how basically we get a season 2 in the near future. Okay, so that's a particular view. Next one's going to be One Piece. Okay, next video. Bye.